What are you looking for, and just how important a hire is this for OU?
Yeah, Joe 2.0 will be their actual title. What was the last part of your question?
Just the importance of this hire overall for the university.
Yeah, it's a everyone knows the evolving landscape of college athletics. It couldn't be more dynamic. One of the great, when we look back at Sooner athletics history, one of the most important moves strategically that we will see was when Joe Castiglione came to me when I came into this job 6 years ago and said, we've got to make a move, either to the SEC or the Big Ten, and laid out the case for the move to the SEC. And with that counsel and direction, we in Texas became first movers. And that is the reason, the most recent example of the kind of foresight and vision you need as an athletic director to navigate a rapid disruption. And so the athletic director we're looking for next is someone that can identify the landscape and act. I think a lot of people could have identified it and had identified it before Oklahoma and Texas made their move. But Joe identified it and said, we got to move. And then that took place. So when we look at the attributes that we need for the next athletic director, it's someone that has both the vision, an understanding of the landscape, and the ability to act, to move. And the changes are going to continue to come. And so I think the most important attribute is someone that understands the changing landscape and has the ability to navigate it. I think that's the central attribute today, and one that we'll be looking at. We've already announced Randall Stevenson will be leading that search, and that's for a different day, but those are the attributes that we're looking for, and we've been fortunate to have them. I thought it was interesting when Chair Holloway talked about the A4, right? I mean, that statement alone, the fact that was the A5 24 months ago, I think perfectly identifies the acceleration and the breadth of change. And so as we look at this, as we receive Joe's counsel on this, that is going to be a central attribute that is something that might not have been contemplated 4 or 5 years ago, and will be a touchstone as this search takes place.
Okay, we'll stay in the same row. Eric Bailey, Tulsa World.
Joe, your fingerprints are going to forever be on this program. What are your hopes in your successor, and what's the biggest piece of advice you could give them as they take over this program, the athletic department?
Well, of course, we want whoever it is to accept the baton and take the program further. The whole idea is to continue to grow the people inside and part of, but OU athletics directly, connected with our university. That's it. It's a growth mindset. So whoever it is, that's what they need to do. And I'll, like all of us have said, be there to be supportive all along the way. But as the president has mentioned, we could talk about the person's skill set, the foresight, technical knowledge, and all of that, and that'll get measured. But if you lose the essence of what we're about in college athletics as part of executing on those kinds of ideas, then you decouple what makes us successful. And so whoever that is needs to take whatever new version of college athletics is and couple it with the brightest and the boldest strategies and tactics. And be unapologetic for loving what you do, building great relationships. I see, now that I'm down here, the light doesn't blind one as much, but, I keep looking at so many people in this room, and especially our head coaches. I see my assistant of 21 years, Jan Weeks here, and my current assistant, Ann Deal. They've been in the foxhole too, and they see what's going on. But I remember trying to convince coaches to come to Oklahoma and look who we were and what we're about. So we were selling these really key characteristics, and most importantly, the elements of what makes a great culture and how it grows and develops. So that's got to be part of what this next person brings. And involve the family. I see our First Lady, Ashley Harroz, and we, as the President said, this is just not some kind of sales pitch when we throw family out there. We are unapologetic for who we are as a family. You're going to see the emotions like you see. We're going to just be who we are because we want people to be authentic. So I'm going to close to answer your question is, above all, be authentic.
Okay, same row, George Stoya, Senior Scoop.
Yeah, I've got a question for both you guys. Joe C., I'm wondering how much has your job maybe changed over the last couple years, and how does that shape the perspective of the next AD and what that position looks like moving forward in college athletics? And for Joe H., you talked about Randall Stevenson. What is it about him that gives you confidence that he can find the next right AD in this, changing landscape?
It's not going to fit in a soundbite, unfortunately, but what I will say succinctly is first recognizing the moment that change is going to occur and doing your best to be prepared for it. One of the most challenging parts of the period that we're in is there's never been a moment like it. Not only in college athletics, I think you could look across various industries. They all go through some moment of disruption and change, and the ones that see the future, that adapt, pivot, be flexible, those are the ones that navigate it, not only survive, but become stronger than they get on the other side. We are just a multifaceted enterprise that has the complexity, I don't know, like no other, because we have so many different levels and people that have ways to lean in and how to please too many people, and it's just not like some kind of hierarchy from the top. You can change it, whether it's a board or a leadership. So you have to work with people, and we have to be comfortable with the uncomfortable period that we're in, and that's where we are. So if you're not willing to lean into it, get scarred up, nicked up, try to find the solutions that are necessary in a moment in time where we're still not structured the way we should be, in a moment in time where we're still using our best experience and knowledge to do what's right, to keep athletes engaged and on campus and programs thriving. Realize sometimes you don't have full control of everything, but you better exert as much as you can. But lean into the future, and don't be afraid to be a change agent. And know what comes with that. It's not going to be always popular, and not everybody's going to understand the elements to it. But I will tell you, the ones that look at what the mission is and keep their eye looking forward, they're the ones that are going to win. And so, however you want to define the skills of the next AD, you better be a leader that can lean in, accept, and effectuate change in the future. Because if it's not up, if the people in the business don't do the leading, then who is?
I can feel Bob Stoops looking at his watch right now. I think we all can. Yeah, with this answer. I'm going to keep it tight, just to avoid the annoying conversation afterwards. What gives me confidence? So Joe and I reached out and brought in Randall back in October because we recognized how much change there was. And we knew we needed somebody that loved the university, that had truly world-class talent at recognizing disruptive change and adapting to it. In his 13 years as CEO of AT&T, that's what he lived in, was disruptive change. He's been involved with the PGA of America. He's done massive media deals. He understands the media landscape. And so we brought him in to give us a hand. I think you saw a product of that, of he and Joe working together with bringing in restructuring, putting in the GM operation, putting Jim Nagy in there, the talent he attracted, and that putting us in first, as I understand it, in the country position of a true pro GM front office. So what gives me confidence that he will do a great job leading this, because it's going to combine. We asked, it's not good form to have the successor pick, the predecessor pick the successor. Joe C. has agreed to be an advisor to the committee. The committee is going to be tight and really talented and good. And Randall's going to have not just his own background, but that of the committee, and Joe C. providing advice to help hopefully bring to bear that collection of talents to find the next Joe C.
Let's go to the back left corner.
Toby Rowland, News 9.
Joe, on your retirement, if you were asked, would you be willing, interested in accepting maybe a larger role in collegiate athletics and trying to figure out how we take this forward?
He's going to stay with us. Thank you for the question.
But I do love your suit, Toby. I have really, brother, I've been trying to get you in one for a long time, and you look awesome. Who knows what the future will bring, and I'm not leaving any little dangling thing so somebody could drive a wedge into that. I don't know what's going to come. I appreciate our chairman talking about being a servant leader. I've always wanted to be first and foremost a servant leader for the athletes and the coaches and the staff, this university at large. But the business itself has offered me chances over the years to serve in leadership roles on various committees, and so I don't know what that will mean going forward. But I still have a high motor. I still have a lot of passion, and I still know why I made this decision. So whatever it is I do choose, it will be done in concert with what Ms. Kristen thinks is best for our family. And, she deserves the utmost respect for that part of the decision.
That's how you make it 30 years, people.
We'll come back to the right side. Third row, Eli Letterman, ESPN.
For Joe Harroz, Joe mentioned the runway he's left here. Headed into a football season, how do you view the timeline on a process like this? And with Randall Stevenson, his background and the shifting landscape, how does that open up the potential candidate pool?
Yeah, beyond grateful to have the runway. It would be, in most instances, you see someone who just leaves and goes somewhere else, and you're stuck. And so, in true Joe Castiglione fashion, giving us this runway, and he's given us lots of runway. So it's going to allow us to go through a process that's not rushed, and one that is disciplined, and that takes into account the landscape that we're in. And so I feel great about the timeline. We're not, sometimes in athletics, you have a week or two to do your hiring, whether it's a head coach or an AD, and we're just not in that position. And I've got, every confidence in Randall and the team around him. Again, it's a search committee. And Randall's expertise, as I said before, coupled with advice from Joe and others on that committee, and we'll be announcing that committee hopefully relatively soon, what that committee looks like. I think you'll see from the composition of it, once it's put together, that we've got a committee that can provide both insights into where the landscape is going, also an understanding of our history and tradition, and coupling those together to get the right person to be here. So it's going to take a little time, but I think we'll have the right team being led by Randall moving forward.
Okay, same row, far right, Phil Hastings, Tulsa World.
Yes, sir, for the president. So you have Heisman Park and you have the coaches' statues. Have you given any thought to how you'd like to see Joe honored eventually?
I think there'll be more news on this front. There is going to be an honor. It will likely be in bronze, and we'll we'll address that at a later time. But it's important. It is important. And you've got to recognize those great leaders. Athletics has a tradition of honoring those that have made historic impacts on the enterprise. We even gave Bob Stoops one. And so as we look at this, the answer is this is an announcement, and there will be celebrations to come, which I hope you will attend, and we'll be properly recognizing Joe's contributions.
Okay, back to the second row, Colton Sullivan, the Oklahoman.
President Harris, you mentioned just the unique front office structure that you guys have built here. How attractive will that be to prospective hires? And then also, how will having that structure kind of help you and the committee as you go about this process?
Yeah. Hopefully it allows, it's interesting. When you look at and you speak to Jim about the way he built the team around him, and you look at how quickly he collected that talent that has 60 years of NFL experience, and when you speak to those individuals, when we recruited Nagy, when he recruited those that came with him, they were immediately attracted to the fact that it was a unique structure and that this athletic director and this institution recognized what today and tomorrow look like, and that we were prepared to lead into that. And so my belief is that by having this unique front office structure, that it will attract candidates that are very serious people that want to live at the highest, that want to win at the highest level, and that understand that we're serious about giving the next Joe C the tools necessary to innovate and to lead into a changed landscape. So I think it's a really important attribute that allows us to demonstrate and not just say that we're innovative, that we're cutting edge, and that we know how to adapt to disruption, and that we're committed to winning in that environment.
Same row, Myron Patton, OKC Sports Radio.
Joe C, I know you got some time left, but say when you are done, what do you want people, the legacy to be when you look back at some of the things that have happened since you took over the AD? What are the things that stand out most to you that you're most proud of?
Well, just I think it builds off the theme that I started out my opening remarks. Look, I could do without this setting of an announcement because it's never ever been about me, and it never will be. But if I've done anything well, it's to find the right people with the right qualities, with the right passion, the right plan, the ability to teach and build confidence in others, and pour into them everything to help them be successful. So I appreciate, it's good to see you, Bill, by the way, and see you for a while, but I appreciate, moments like this where the recognition is coming my way. But you know what I appreciate it the most? Is because it's recognizing everybody else that helped make a moment like this possible. It's not about me. I always thought that if I could help others be the best version of themselves, then I was doing what I was called to do. And it's never been about an ego. So when I see Bob and Sherry and AJ and Skip and Patty and the other coaches I can't see because of the lights, Porter, whoever's here, and those that came before them, they're the reason why any AD gets any accolade, not the AD themselves. So if you want to see the people that do it best, look for the success in the others, and then their success means the person that was in that role to play that point position to help them be successful, they're doing the right job. So for me, it's just be able to celebrate them, celebrate others' success.
Okay, we've got time for just 3 more questions. We'll go back to the third row, Ryan Chapman, Sports Illustrated Sooners.
Joe C., we talked about the changing landscape, but when you look at the next couple of years, what are a couple of the biggest challenges for athletic directors as college sports continues to restructure itself?
Well, this is a big question, and one that everybody wrestles with all the time, so it's a good one to ask. If you're looking at one thing that has to be addressed, that's the mesh point between the athletes and the sports they play. Yes, we're working through the best ideas we have at the moment, but the mesh point is where it's going to sustain itself for the longer period of time. It might take different shapes and forms before we get there, but the idea of recognizing the world we're in, the athletes that contribute their time, their talent, and the universities they represent involves compensation. And it's so much more because we're colleges, not pros. You know, who knows what the world means, whether it's employee-based or not. But and who knows what certain sports do to stay successful. But there's still the mesh point. Like any team, pro or college, high school, junior high, the softball leagues, every team has the connection of the mesh point, why you're part of it. And we've got to be better in that space. And I think Joe mentioned it. You know, learning how to handle it is also being self-aware that we spent pretty much a lifetime building a model that was so different than where we're going. And we got to be able to involve those that have been part of a model similar to what we're going forward to that, how they can bring something to it. So I hope, my hope still, is that college athletics stays true to its core, that it is connected to the North Star, which is education, and that it finds its footing, its structure, to be successful in a changing world where it's okay to celebrate your athletes, and it's okay for them to share in something that is making the overall program successful. And they still want to come and be part of a great university. They want to develop. They want to have the relationships with coaches. They just can do it in a new structure.
Okay, two more. Fourth row, Davis Cordova, Norman Transcript.
Yeah, Josie, kind of talked about the special projects that you're going to work on in the next 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
What do those look like, and what are some things you want to accomplish with the rest of your time?
Well, as our president mentioned, you know, we're just finishing up several important facility projects for sports. We haven't even had the groundbreaking, ribbon cutting, whatever you want yet. We've had a few in the last year or so, but our golf facility, our tennis facility, our gymnastics facility, they're in various stages of completion and just being completed. But going forward, there's still some needs for several sports, most notably our baseball stadium, and I feel very confident in everything we have, you know, in terms of momentum around that. What Coach Johnson has done, and I thank him for being here. The West Side Stadium project is the biggest project we've ever attempted here. It's the first grandstands that the field had when called Owen Field back then, but in fact Benny Owen was the one that helped build the stadium and hadn't had a lot done to it since, except for maybe the upper deck 50 years ago. And we've got a transformative plan for that. We still have great excitement around the entertainment district, that we're partnering with our city and our county and what's good for the citizens and residents of our community, as well as the regional aspect of it. And then, you want to tell that?
No, it's your idea.
Oh, I like it when somebody else is
All right.
you can tell about my idea.
Yeah, we were talking about this, and one of the as we were talking about what really excites and interests Joe, and how we keep him here longer. He brought up the idea of creating in the College of Business, or maybe even more broadly, an academic program around sports management. And with the connections that he has, the excellence of the institution, the Price College of Business, the ability to build out a program, not just at the master's level, but more broadly, that could be really engaging and exciting. And then we also had a broader discussion about the potential for, sports medicine and the direction that could go with OU Health. So when we think about what this role looks like, we know it involves fundraising so we can complete. He hadn't finished his stadium yet. It involves those components and the other capital projects we're looking at. But, on brand for Joe, it's also the academic enterprise and opportunities that exist there.
So even in part to answer the earlier question about and there's been several about what you look for in the next AD, what the future of college athletics all about, I think this can be the nexus of teaching the next generation of future leaders. One of the things I've been most proud of being in the role as athletic director for 33 years almost, is that I was able to hire great staff who had a passion to do what I was doing, and there's literally 33 of them that have left wherever they were after I had a chance to hire and work with them, that have become athletic directors and now 2 conference commissioners. And so I do have, this sort of gratitude about the mentors that poured into me, and I've always included mentorship as a big part of my leadership strategy, if you will. So that's what I think we can do to teach the next generation here and position them for this new world going forward.
Okay, final question, 4th row on aisle, Kerry Murdoch, Sooner Scoop and Sports Channel.
Joe C., this one's for you. There's been a lot of talk today about vision, attributing that to you. I know last couple of years have been probably really frustrating for you, just the landscape of college football and college sports. Spending these next year, 2, 3, whatever it's going to be, how much do you really want to get your hands dirty, kind of getting that figured out from the university's perspective, and how you handle NIL and how you handle revenue sharing? I mean, I have to think that it's pretty important to you to kind of leave here clean and with all the work that you already put into it.
Well, that's what excites me. I mean, none of this is perfect. If you could put a structure out there saying, okay, that's what the new world is supposed to look like, we'd all be aggressively attacking the path toward it. Part of it is, the challenge of it, yes, but the excitement of trying to shape. And like you said, Kerry, the most important thing for me is to leave this program pointed upwards. And I truly believe, going into this upcoming year, there are countless examples where you can point to where we're going to take big positive steps forward. And leaning into, doing what's necessary to position Oklahoma for success. So I don't look at it like, I don't look at the issues or what we don't have. I'm more excited about focusing on the things we either have or need to have to be successful. And I want to work with the president and obviously when the new AD comes here to help transition the right way, so we truly keep the momentum that's been started. And it's positive.
Okay, that's all the time we have this morning. Thank you certainly to Joe and Joe and to Chair Holloway and to everyone for attending. We hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.